Champaign, Illinois. Population 70,000. The streets are clean and the neighbors friendly. In a cozy corner of this modest community, you'll find Volition Studios, a small but distinguished collective of like-minded video game developers. It is from this unlikely locale that our story unfolds. A tale of brutality and vengeance, full of larceny, fraud, pimpin', and murder. The usual suspects are the 3rd Street Saints, and their M.O. is terror. These wanton criminals, perhaps unloved as children, have turned to violence in their quest for respect and a boatload of bling. Join us now as we take a walk on the wild side of next-gen gaming as THQ and Volition Studios present Saints Row.
We didn't want to just have it be like a gang simulator, right? It's not like this is a slice of life when you're in a gang. The clothes are better, the cars are shiny, they have big rims, the girls are all pretty and they don't have STDs. It's really heightened and really kind of over the top.
We did a lot of research in terms of the urban side of the game and the authenticity. We also hired consultants, people who are well-known personalities in the hip-hop world, for example, both on the music side, but also the clothing side, and also people who had been in gangs to advise us on what people wear, how they talked.
Visually, we went with like a Detroit, Chicago style, industrial, older, has seen better days type city.
It really, we tried to get a lot of variety in, and the neighborhoods feel very, very different. You know when you've gone from one to the other. It's from very rundown areas like Sunnyvale Gardens, which is basically like a projects district, to the very glass and steel towers of the downtown areas.
We wanted to make a game that is about you, primarily. So you have a very extensive character creation set that allows you to create a character to the likeness of anyone you want.
There are basically 4 gangs. The Players Gang, which is the 3rd Street Saints. There's the Vice Kings, Los Carnales, and the Rollers.
Some of the actors that comprise their voices are Freddie Rodriguez.
No problem.
Joaquin de Almeida.
¿Pero qué pasó?
Michael Clark Duncan.
I'm not happy, Anthony.
Clancy Brown.
This was an act of urban terrorism.
Mila Kunis.
Are you gonna let him talk about me like that?
Tia Carrera.
Any other comments?
David Carradine.
It's always a pleasure.
Michael Rappaport.
I got your back, Julius.
We're very proud of our cast, by the way.
Tanya is a big help. This is great. I kill people, I die. This is fabulous. You know, what else can you ask for?
Each of the gangs have their own sort of unique look and their own unique involvement in the criminal underworld.
Ben King is in charge of the Vice Kings.
They're more of the mafia style where they're involved heavily in big businesses.
He is the typical gangster. He runs his crew with iron fists. He doesn't take anything from anybody.
Hector Lopez is in charge of the Carnales, a predominantly Hispanic gang.
They're involved heavily in drug trade with the Colombians.
One of our shipments didn't arrive, and I want to make sure no one's skimming off the top.
They are probably the meanest of the mean.
Yo no le tengo miedo a Orejuela.
And then Vincent Price is in charge of the West Side Rollers, which is a primarily sort of fast and furious gang.
The Rollers are very oriented to street racing, car stealing, those types of things.
And then finally there is your gang. Julius is in charge of that gang.
Welcome to the 3rd Street Saints.
He's basically wanting to bring the Saints back to protect their home territory of Saints Row and oust the rest of the gangs.
We're taking a slightly different approach to the gameplay in that we're trying to make it as open-ended and free-form as possible.
They can go where they want to do and perform the activities that they like, that they have the most fun with, and still advance through the game that way without having to basically, say, okay, well, you must do X, Y, or Z, you have to deliver so many pizzas or whatever.
We let you, the gamer, decide what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and how often you want to do it.
The player wants to go and do a little bit of, let's say, street racing. They can do as much or as little of street racing as they want and earn respect, and that respect in turn unlocks missions.
Visually, I think everyone will notice that this game looks next gen. It's rendered for high-definition televisions. All of this contributing to a heightened degree of realism in the game.
You could go inside, you can go outside, you can drive from one end of the city to the other as fast as you want, and you'll never see a hard load screen.
And it's really leveraging the power of the Xbox 360, the memory and the processing power that allowed us to pull that off.
You can change your primary paint color, but there's also several other paint colors you can change, and each with their own properties. Like you can have metallic flecks, visible in the paint job.
We try to really give this city the feeling of a city where people are actually doing things outside of you
when night falls, you're going to see more sort of like seedy characters out in the streets, and more crimes are going to happen at night.
I've seen things where I'll be just walking around and a cop will all of a sudden come by and arrest somebody or just beat somebody down, and then gang members see this happening and then they start to get involved, and before you know it, you're actually watching a gang fight that you had nothing to do with.
The number of possibilities of things that may arise mushrooms, and so it makes it very difficult to predict what the gamer might encounter when they do certain things.
The in-game radio has a total of 13 radio stations.
So if you've been bitten by a dog, or slipped on some ice, or shot in the ass, or rear-ended by someone in a foreign automobile, I want you to make the next call after 911 to me, Legal Lee at Legal Ease.
And we try to reflect as much gameplay in our radio ads, commercials, news bulletins as possible.
So if the player's playing a lot of Hitman or hijacking, then a newscast will play, truckers, watch out for all the hijackings going on in the game, or something equivalent like that.
So you might be driving along and hear about a sale that's taking place at a clothing store. And there actually will be a sale at that clothing store for the next day or so, and you can go there and get the discount.
Hey kiddies, they're having a 30% off sale.
Well, multiplayer in Saints Row is something that we think is going to be huge. You really haven't seen games of this style have a multiplayer component.
Where you can take your character online and compete against thousands of other Xbox Live players.
We have 8 multiplayer modes and a number of multiplayer levels. You can play head-to-head or you can play co-op.
Things like Protect the Pimp, where you're basically running around and making sure that this pimp that you have doesn't get killed by the enemy gang members. Modes like Blinged Out Ride, where 2 teams are racing to bling up their car.
As you play and as you compete against other people, you'll earn money. And this money will in turn buy clothing and jewelry and tattoos and hairstyles and whatnot.
So if you've been playing for 5,000 hours and you made a lot of Saints Row bucks, you can buy that pimp hat that no one else has and brag about it. And people will know immediately because you'll be wearing it in the game and no one else can afford to buy it.
You can also create online gangs, so you and a bunch of your buddies can go online, form a gang, start wearing the same type of clothing, and really show off to other people.
We're also going to have a large amount of downloadable content that will come after the game is released, and it'll consist of like clothing packs, but also vehicles, and also downloadable level.
This script I found very compelling. This script, I have to say, is better than some of the movies I've done.
It's smart and it's funny and it's a great game. It's a very smart game.
I want one of these video games when it comes out.
I'll definitely check it out for sure.
And you're going to love our music.
We've really been able to come up with a great, solid game that not only looks well, but plays well, and I think people are really going to be amazed by it.
I started out with nothing. Just a kid from the streets with nothing to lose. Then I met Julius, and everything changed.
Welcome to the 3rd Street Saints.
Once I joined the 3rd Street Saints, everything started going my way. I'd run some jobs, get paid, and Lady Luck was on my side. Now, I have the women, the clothes, the rides, but it's not enough. I want more. I want it all.
Come on.
That's the great thing about this city. It's there for the taking, if you've got what it takes. Saints Row, coming soon.